I am the Executive Vice President for Employability.life and I manage the South Asia operations for the organization. Employability.life is a global talent incubator operating within higher education institutions, preparing learners for the workplace by meeting employer requirement for the jobs most in demand. The organization works in close partnerships with university partners and other global industry bodies. It has offices in London, Melbourne, Sydney, Auckland, Delhi, Kolkata, and Ahmedabad. Now I would like to introduce the officials who will address the media today. Dr. Manish Malhotra is the chairman of Employability.life. He founded Xpmc, which now offers university, vocational, higher education and professional programs in several countries with over 800 staff and 7,000 students, focused on e-learning, business, strategic planning, and business development. Dr. Malhotra has completed executive education program at both State Business School, the University of Oxford, and London Business School. He holds a PhD degree in computer science from RMIT University in Melbourne. He has developed this organization to provide public-private partnerships, localized businesses, community research, technology-based qualifications, and academic development programs, including scholarly activities. May I please invite Dr. Malhotra to be on the dais.
I'm already here. Thank you so much.
Is a Vice Chancellor and President of Federation University Australia, where he leads Victoria's premier regional university to transform lives and enhance communities through deep community engagement and sustainable economic growth. Professor Bentley works with industry and government to bring digital transformation and global connections to develop employment, skills, and innovation in regional communities. He has previously held leadership positions at Swinburne University of Technology, Victoria University, Curtin University, and Bond University. He holds a Master of Laws, Corporate and Communication from the University of London and a PhD in International Tax Laws and Bond University. May I request and invite Professor Duncan Bentley to come on the dais, please. Ms. Caroline Chong is the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Global and Engagement at Federation University Australia. She has held leadership roles across range of portfolios at the Swinburne University of Technology, Victoria University, and RMIT University over the last 20 years, including most recently the Dean of Swinburne Global Education. She has been the chair of Victorian Tafe International and has extensive experience in growing vocational training and industry partnerships, including business-to-business education. Ms. Chong has worked closely with federal, state, local governments and regulatory authorities, both in Australia and the equivalents, particularly across Asia. She is an alumnus of Australian Institute of Company Directors and Griffith University. May I request Ms. Caroline Chong to the dais, please. Last but not least, Mr. Supriya Chaudhary. He is the CEO of Employability.life, which is built around experiential micro-credentials, Xpmc, that bring agile project experiences to higher education and produce data-rich assessments for the learner's workplace readiness. He has over 30 years of global experience in workforce education through various roles within higher education, professional education, and policy advocacy sectors. Mr. Chaudhary has previously held leadership positions at Xpmc Australia, EEMUA, Global Learning Network, USPIRE, Westminster's Kingsway College, London School of Accountancy and Management. He is an alumnus of UCL, Birkbeck, University of London, Rabindra Bharati University, Kolkata, University of Calcutta, and NIIT. May I request Mr. Chaudhary to come on the dais, please. Once again, let me welcome the members of the media, and we are extremely thankful for joining us today. I would like to set the agenda for the day. We will have Dr. Manish Malhotra and Professor Duncan Bentley giving their keynote address first, followed by a short presentation by Mr. Supriya Chaudhary, post which we will unveil the product and the official launch of Xpmc. After this, we will make...
It's great to have so many of you here. So good morning, everyone. I welcome you all on behalf of our team that is gathered here from UK, Australia, and of course India. Let me start by giving a disclaimer that this is not another education degree launch. Okay, it's not another foreign university tying up in India for setting up a college, or it's not another research partnership between public and private sector. So as a matter of fact, this is not even close to all of that. Because this is, what we are doing today is not just about the education. Why we are here today is to talk about the education that is connected to the employability. This is about future of work. This is about changing technology and employment requirements. This is about making our students workplace ready. But before I explain this more to you in details, it's important to understand that why I am talking about this here and what is the background story behind this. I was born in this lovely city, Delhi, and I did my school in Delhi as well. After finishing my school, I went to Australia to do a degree program, and after that I continued my studies in Australia, finished my PhD, and started teaching in a university in Melbourne. In 2004, I started a college called Xpmc, which had demand of truck drivers in Perth, and which is a mining town in Australia, a big city which has connection to all the big mines. And I recall that year, that's when I first started doing my computer science job. I recall that the truck drivers in Perth were getting more salaries than a doctor in Australia, and that was very lucrative. But if you look now, 20 years after that, everything's changed. There are robotic trains who are doing all those things, and those truck drivers and those jobs that were around the mining has completely changed. They do not even exist now. So this is all because the world has changed so fast. We are right in the middle of Industry 4.0 right now. From banks to bricks and mortar retailers, everyone is now substantially investing into digital transformation. And with this further advancement of machine learned system, Internet of Things, space exploration, and augmented reality, it is going to be a completely new world. And this new world will have new jobs, something that we even do not know what the jobs will be in the future. So we realized in Australia that we have to make changes to our education programs to produce graduates and that can cope up with these changes in the workplace, that can fit in rapidly changing job roles, and that can fulfill the new skills that are needed in their new job roles. So our solution was clear. Our solution was that we must bridge the education to employment gap. So we started working on the models of employability in Australia to give our students a better job. We started the process of looking into their strengths, their behavioral skills, their experiential training, and their approach to agile methodology. Our affiliated university partner, Federation University Australia, started working on this problem at a much higher level. They started converting their 150 years old university to become Australia's first co-op university that will bring industry close to the education programs, larger scale. In this world, where 82% of the jobs require digital skills globally, we have only 12% of India's workforce with digital skills today. The automation threatens 69% of jobs in India. Over 27 million people must be trained in India in the digital skills by 2025 if we want to unlock the $1 trillion digital economy of India. And India's digital skill workforce needs to grow 9-fold by 2025. Now, keeping these problems, keeping these numbers in our mind, we started working on the solution for India for this very complex problem. Resolving this problem of closing gap between education and employment in this digital age will ensure that India will become the skill capital of the world. We kept the new Indian youth, their behavior, right into the middle of the solution. Our students have changed in India like our industries. There is a clear distinction in today's youth in India when they talk about what jobs are lovely and what jobs are lousy. And they are very clear with that. They believe, the youth in India clearly now believe that they want to have the right skills that they can actually use in the war of talent rather than participating in the fluctuating labor shortage solutions. They want to have these right skills because they know that if they have the right skills, they can have a great job which is fun and be rich at the same time. So our youth is completely thinking in a different way already, as we all know. So all of our Indian youth is looking for a skilled job, not a dream job. I think because the thing about dreams is that they disappear when you wake up. So I think they want to be more skilled than that.
Coming along. We really appreciate your being here with us. Now, 150 years ago, in a small town called Ballarat, there was a massive gold rush which shook the world. People were coming from all over the globe in order to find gold. Melbourne, which was a small city in the middle of nowhere, became one of the richest countries in the world, richest cities in the world. And at that time, with the gold rush in midstream, they ran out of skills. They didn't have the engineers, they didn't have the geologists, and so they formed a university, my university, to work with industry, to design a curriculum, to design the skills that they needed with the industries, because they needed them then and there to be able to fuel this burgeoning economic growth which was driving the whole of the Victorian state as it was then, before it became Australia. And that is the basis not only for our university and our history, but for all that we've done ever since. Now, 25 years ago, if you fast forward, a company called IBM, who many of you will have heard of, were looking for a location to build their training program to enable them to find the skills they needed, because they weren't getting them from the universities around Australia. They needed the skills to be able to carve out their future growth. They came to Ballarat, to Federation University, it was called the University of Ballarat then, and they co-designed and co-created a curriculum which enabled them to be able to power their workforce to be able to deliver in Australia their growth. And they remain, 90 years after they came to Australia, one of the most powerful companies in the country, powering tech growth. And they did that through a collaboration with us as the university, co-creating the skills, co-delivering the curriculum, providing paid internships on the way through university. But that doesn't matter to us. We are not the destination. What we are is a partner to the companies which we work with, many of which you will have heard of. IBM, Acciona, one of the largest renewable energy companies in the world, Energia, Ernst & Young, Mars, McCain, manufacturers of confectionery. Alstom, manufacturers of trains and trams. Alinta, a major energy company. These are the companies you'd have heard of. You may not have heard of us because we are the learning partner to fuel their growth through a cooperative arrangement where we collaborate on designing the curriculum, designing the skills that are needed, co-delivering the program, and providing them with the skills they need.
India has expanded its education system rapidly over last 15 years. New colleges have come up. The government is very intent to get the demographic dividend. It's one of the world's youngest countries. We have 2.1 million people coming to the working age every month. And we have to find jobs and we have to integrate them to the global economy. However, at the same time, the traditional sources of jobs and careers are changing. And that's happening for multiple reasons. One of them is technology. So we are looking at a significant challenge in terms of what jobs will be there. And the biggest challenge that we have is that we don't even know what those jobs would look like. So the education system which has come together, the challenge is how do you train for something which you don't know what it will be. And we are kind of getting some more interesting data about how quickly the skills are becoming redundant. I'll give one piece of data, but I can talk about things. So we call it half-life of skills. Half-life is by the time these skills started getting redundant. And if you actually look at it, 37%, if we ask someone, or employers, we do that all the time, we go and ask employers, what skills do you require? And if we asked an employer in 2016, of the top 20 skills they would have mentioned, 37% of them are not required anymore already. And you can imagine, education is a forward-thinking enterprise. Education, we are training people for 3 years. And if we don't know what 1/3 of the skills will be, it's very, very difficult for us to teach, design curriculum and everything else. And this is the problem we are trying to address. They are not, half of them can't find a job. B.Tech, which used to be, obviously I grew up in India, and that used to be the gold standard. We kind of, obviously my father and I had a lot of arguments whether I should become an engineer or not, and I didn't. But it is almost certain that if you became an engineer, you would get a job. Now, only half of them find a job. So, and we can talk about the quality of education and things like that, but there is a fundamental problem that this whole job landscape is shifting, and the education needs to kind of think how we can catch up with that. So I'll talk about treat that learner and tell that learner that she will be able to adopt whatever the landscape will be. They will be able to learn. And that we do by experiential learning. We put them in the projects, try to make them solve problems, and focus on how they solve problems than what problem they are solving. And that's our approach. So our approach is experiential, and we put the key approach that we do here, and that's what we are launching here, that we put the learner in charge, the student in charge. Pioneer in kind of global micro-credentials conversation, but micro-credentials are short programs which can give that industry-relevant skills to the students. And it's designed so that industry and the formal education sector can respond to the ever-changing job market that I just spoke about. So you have taken that model, that short, flexible program model, and we have built it around this experiential learning that you talked about. And for all experiential learning projects that we do, we are kind of looking for 5 attributes which are listed there. We are looking at growth mindset, whether the person is kind of able to face a problem and kind of say, fine, you know, if I face something which I don't know today, I'll be able to learn it. They know where their careers are and what's happening in their industry and what skills they are gaining and how they can apply for the next job.